Welcome to Drum and Drummer, a podcast focused on drums, drumming and drummers. I'm George Pickering and that's Ben Winty, and we are both professional drummers in this business we call music. So stick around and join us as we pass the time whilst trying to stay in time.
Right.
Yeah, I don't
Have you
know
seen the
much
Truman
TV.
Show?
No.
What?
And I'll be honest,
What?
I was lying when I said I'd seen Arrested Development. Just
Oh,
'cause I
fuck
knew.
off. Welcome.
Welcome
Hello.
to Drum and Drummer.
Yeah, man. Must
How
be
are you?
Thursday.
Yep.
And
We're
here
here.
we are in your week.
Yeah. Wherever you're
Permeating your
listening,
week.
wherever you're listening to us, in the car on the way to work. That's how
Sure.
a lot of people do it.
Keep concentrating on the road, though. Don't
Yeah,
get
please.
distracted by
Yeah.
the bants.
The bats. This is it. Probably people are laughing so hard. They're like, I can't control this car anymore.
Yeah, I need to pull over.
I need to pull over and just,
Be a responsible driver on
yeah.
these roads.
If you ever see someone pulled over at the side of the road with their hazards on, that's probably exactly what's happening.
That's what they're
they're
doing,
listening
yeah.
to Drum and Drummer and gone, God, that's a brilliant bit about salt and vinegar crisps.
Yeah.
I can't cope. I've
Yeah.
got to pull over. I saw something that I just wanted to discuss quickly before.
Sure,
We
man.
do have a guest today, but I just wanted to discuss it. So, have you heard of Ed Sheeran?
Little ginger fella sings songs about stuff.
There you go, nailed it.
Yeah.
So he's currently on a massive stadium tour, probably the biggest one ever. And he's done 5 nights at Wembley Stadium. And for the first time, he's got a band. However, it's not on his stage with him. So I'll explain that. So his stadium stage setup is him in the center of the stadium. Like
Okay,
properly
yeah,
the
yeah,
center.
yeah.
Like imagine where the football match is being played.
Where
center
kickoff is.
circle. Yeah,
It's the
kickoff.
centre circle, basically.
He's on the center circle
Yeah.
rather than one end of the stadium. And he does have, I'm not sure who's in the band, but I know there's a drummer. And I saw a video of the drummer playing. And it's the weirdest thing. I'll put it on the Insta, but basically the drummer isn't on the same stage with him. It's like there's the center stage, and then about 100 feet back, I don't know how far back, there's separate stages, and he has different session musicians. And
And
you
they're
watch,
sort of dotted around the stadium, aren't they? They're not
Yeah.
even together.
they're not even all on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're you could be locking in with the bassist, but he's literally the other corner flag or whatever. Of
Yeah,
the
good.
pitch.
Yep, they have corner flags on football pitches. Well done.
Yeah. I don't know much about football, but I know there's corner flags.
Kick off and corner flags. What else do you need to know?
Exactly.
Nothing.
But I watch these videos and it's really weird because the drummer's playing, but no one's looking at him because it's Ed Sheeran. And I was just thinking, how weird would that be?
I mean,
You're
they're
playing-
essentially like in the audience, aren't they?
Yeah,
Dotted around
yeah,
the stadium. So everyone's facing the centre,
yeah,
as are the band. But so the drummer's got this whole row of people in front of him
yeah,
facing opposite way.
yeah.
And he's just
Yeah.
on his own, and there's
Yeah.
no other musicians. And he's just
No.
sort of playing.
He's just playing. And I just thought, how weird is because if you're playing Wembley and all eyes are on you, that's pressure, you hear all bands, whatever level, talk about it. Wembley Stadium, I've heard, is terrifying to play because it's so colossal. But I do wonder if you're playing Wembley and you're aware no one is looking at you, does it take away from the
You're not in
event?
the middle. You're not on
You're
the
not in the
main
middle. I
stage.
don't know. It's weird. Obviously, any drummer would want that gig.
Well, you sent me
But,
that clip, and I figured, I thought, the people were literally, there's some people like a good number of rows just right in front of him.
Yeah.
And if you're in the audience there and you're looking forward and watching Ed,
Yeah.
and literally behind you is just a drummer,
Yeah.
that must be weird.
Yeah.
And maybe you can hear some of the actual acoustic kit.
Actually, yeah.
What is going on? Why are you over here?
This is
Why are
it.
you on the...
Yeah.
And then just in another corner, just a bassist, just
Yeah.
on his own.
Yeah.
But it must be quite isolating and just fucking lonely.
Yeah, definitely.
Can't vibe off your other musos, like
No.
even just physically, not let alone musically.
No.
But,
and
yeah, very much.
I think if I was at that gig and I was in that little section and the drummer was,
I'd be looking at the drummer.
I'd be looking at the drummer. Yeah. And then when
The ideal seat would be just a couple of rows behind him.
Yes.
to the
you've
side,
got
so you could
the
just get a real
drummer.
nice angle
Yeah.
at the drums from a slightly, above view. That would be
Definitely.
great.
It would,
Yeah.
but I couldn't not mention that because I saw it and I thought that's
Neil went to
odd.
that gig.
He did, yeah.
Took his daughter for her birthday. How nice is that?
I heard.
Yeah.
Sounds lovely. Or one of the gigs, one of the Wembley 5 times. That's mental.
Yeah.
To say which Wembley Stadium
Neil
gig
went
did
on
you
the
go to?
Friday.
That's probably a good one to go to.
Friday. Apparently, Ed's mic didn't work for the first song.
Yeah,
so
I
had to
heard
stop and
this.
start again or something.
Yeah,
But anyway, we have a guest, Georgie boy.
we do. Yeah, Connor Griffiths. We mentioned it on the pod. He's someone that you've sort of met a few times at your studio.
Yep.
But I've never met him, but we follow each other on Insta. So it was really nice to actually genuinely just talk to him for the first time.
Yeah, so Connor's the next generation of sort of drummers to come out from Portsmouth in the sort of pro. He plays in a band called FLOWVERS. So go check them out. And he's now branching out, into sort of a career as a drummer, and he's making those early moves, playing functions and, pub and just cutting his teeth really at a young age. And so it was nice to finally have I know of FLOWVERS and they've rehearsed a couple of times here, and it was really nice to actually get a proper chat with him and see where he's at drum-wise and what he's doing and what he wants to do. And stuff. So it was really good to have him on, and he's been listening to the podcast.
Yeah, which was lovely.
That was very nice.
Yeah,
very nice. Yeah, I did like that.
Yeah.
And he's going through the back catalogue. That's
what when he said, "Oh, I've listened to
nice,
some." I was like, "Oh, have you listened to one of the big name ones?" And he said, "No, I'm up to episode 7." I went, "Oh, wow."
Yeah, he's sticking with it.
Yeah, because still,
for how long? I don't know.
Yeah, I still don't feel like anyone is listening. So it's always nice when someone actually does. So let's dive into it, shall we?
Let's go.
Hello,
Hi, mate.
How we doing?
Good. How are
man.
you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Cheers for having me on.
That's all right.
All right, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
My pleasure. I have been checking you guys out recently in the past couple of weeks. I love it. It's wicked.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, really cool.
Which episodes do you remember who you've listened to?
I think I'm up to about episode 7, so I'm still working
Shit, so you've started
working
from
through
the
your
start.
backlog. Yeah.
All right,
God.
cool.
Amazing. It's weird. I can't even really remember what we talked about on the first ones. It's like last year now.
Yeah, I am getting now a few people going, "Oh, you said this," and I'm like, "Am I? Did I? I don't know." It feels like ages ago, but that's great you're listening, man.
Panicking, sitting there going, "Oh, I don't remember saying that." That's,
Exactly. You have to be conscious. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I was kind of keen to get you on just because I'd seen. I can't remember how I started following on Instagram, but I just
Probably press the follow button.
probably pressed the follow button. That was probably it. But I always see that you're always gigging and doing stuff, and I was like, "Man, this guy is like on it." And how old are you?
I'm 21.
21. Yeah. See, that's what I mean. It's sort of like you seem like someone that's got their shit together in terms of like drumming.
I'm glad it comes across that way.
No, yeah, it definitely does.
It's not always true, but I'm glad.
No,
It
it
definitely
seems
feels
like-
like you're like the next the next generation of sort of pro drummer that's gonna come out of the local scene, and you seem to be sort of putting yourself in the right positions to be able to sort of have a drumming career.
Trying to is as you guys know, it's hard slog.
it is
but,
hard. Yeah. So when would you say you sort of? It's a hard question to say, but like started like the career as then like now I am a drummer and I'm not doing anything else.
I don't really know when I can say I like you said officially became
Yeah.
like a full-time musician. I suppose when you leave education, really. So I went to ACM in Guildford, did 2 years college, and then didn't go on to do uni. Was just hoping to go out and do it. Obviously, COVID threw a spanner in that work.
Yeah.
But I think that was probably maybe my last year of college. I could sit there and say, I'm full-time every weekend at least playing.
Amazing.
So it's so I'm trying to think now. 3 years, maybe 4 years at a push.
So did you leave ACM and then COVID happened, or?
Yeah, I'd been out for. It it would have been my first like academic year out of education. So yeah, about 6-7 months, maybe a little bit more.
Fair.
So long ago now.
Did you ever think about going to uni?
Yeah, I did consider it. Because obviously when you're up there, they do degree as well, and it was always an option. And loads of people that I play with, and lots of my my good mates all study, whether it's BIM, ACM. I didn't not get on with like school and college, but it just wasn't for me. It's so bogged down with all the writings and your dissertations, and just at the time just didn't appeal to me. And I was already gigging quite a lot and was starting to get my recording work up as well. So I kind of initially said to myself, I'll give it a year, I'll give it 2 years, and just give it everything I've got. And if I want to go back, I will. Even now, it's not like oh no, I'm never going to do it sort of thing. I might still end up going back at some point, but yeah, obviously then COVID happened, so kind of pushed my plans back a little bit. But since we've been back up and running, it's been mega busy. So I might at some point, whether I do like a intensive year or like a specific study sort of thing, like a jazz course or something more niche. But I don't know now if I'd go back and do a full 3-year BA honours sort of thing.
So how many people are you playing for at the moment? Would you say like session gigs?
Session work?
Even just in terms of live people you're playing for?
Outside of functions, I think I'm involved with 5 artists or bands at the moment.
Wow.
So I've got my own band, so I've got my own projects, and outside of that, I think I've got 4-5 other people, and then a couple of weddings on top.
Nice.
Which is funny enough, actually, how I kind of know. I know Ben through Blacksmiths, obviously.
Yeah.
But we all seem to cross paths in bands, but being drummers, we're never ever on the same gig at the same time.
I know, this is it. I think Indigo Heights is probably the sort of like melting pot, but obviously we've never met because we're never going to be in the same room at the same time.
Someone seriously fucked up. If all 3 of us turn up at a gig.
The admin team are going to be in trouble if we're both sitting there looking at each other.
I was so proud when I think it was you were playing a tailored gig, and I think maybe it was on your Instagram, and George sent me a picture, and you were playing, and you had one of my drum charts.
Oh yeah, that was a recent one. The Wildwood Sky one.
Wildwood Sky. I had my iPad in front of me and spent the whole gig just staring at the structures.
It's really nice to see like these charts have passed down to sort of George, and now they're passing
2 generations.
To the next.
Hope
they were helpful.
They were a lifesaver on that gig.
Well, let's talk about how did you get into function gigs then?
Function. Well, from 14, I was playing pub gigs most weekends, and I kind of built up through there. So was going to my local jam open mic night, I suppose.
Is that in the Portsmouth area?
Yeah, it's in a little village called Catherington, which is near Horndean. I don't know.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So it's just a pub, and it's in that area. It's like kind of the place to be on a Thursday night again. If you want to do that sort of thing. It was brilliant for just a bit of a tangent. It was brilliant for me actually at that age, because they just really throw you in at the deep end of, especially with drums. It's like they get up, the singer turns around and goes, this is the key, this is the song. They've got their lyrics in, and it's just look at you for tempo, and they're like, right, go. Yeah. And you'll sit, 14-year-old little me sitting there going, I don't know half these songs. I wasn't alive when half of these songs were even in the charts, let alone being written. But through that, I got to know all the other local artists, so singers, guitarists who all had their own bands, and a lot of them played together in a pub band. So I started playing for them, just sort of dep work again, which they started to get me in on a couple of parties and weddings. But to get in with Tailored, we mentioned earlier, it was through Sam Carter Brazier.
Yeah.
I do quite a bit of session work for him at Mayfield Studios in Drayton.
Yeah. And
it was through him that he got me involved with Tailored, with Indigo Heights, and then from there, obviously through Ben in management, it was getting me in on a couple of others that you guys also play for.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. No, it's definitely a good way to make some good money. The function game.
Yeah.
It's surprising.
If you turn up, you get and you do the job well, and no hassle. There's just going to be loads more. There's always there's always a need for a good drummer. Just a good reliable. Just play the songs. No fuss.
Do as you're told. Turn up on time. Be nice. You can't go wrong. You're sorted.
So what I want to ask is, because when I sort of became, I don't know, quote unquote, like a self-employed drummer musician, I sort of had a week my week was sort of all over the place. So I do a bit of teaching at a school, private teaching. I'd work at the old blacksmiths in the evening. I'd have gigs. I'd, do this and that. Just from looking at your website, it looks like you do a bit of everything as well. Like, is there a sort of average week that you have, or does it change every week? Or are there a lot of things that's similar?
Yeah, it's probably a bit similar. There's never really a week that's the same sort of thing. Yeah, no, not really. Most of my stuff is live work. Is majority of what I do. So 3 or 4 a week on a good week. Yeah. At the moment, I'm not actually teaching at the moment. I have done in the past. It's one of those things that I found really hard because I didn't have a rota and I didn't have a schedule of what my week was going to look like.
Yeah.
Students are there wanting mainly the parents more than anything, wanting a set time every week. And it's, you kind of sit there and I do like 4 weeks and I go, I'm really sorry, I can't do next week because I'm here, there and everywhere. And then the next week something else pops up and it's just becomes that thing of like, I'm just really sorry.
Yeah.
I can't keep letting you down. I don't want to keep letting you down. So yeah, no, it's always varied really. A lot of my work, especially at the moment, because I'm still trying to establish myself, is very last minute. So most of I'll sit there and look at my calendar and go, oh, next week's looking a bit empty. I've got 1 gig on the Saturday. By the time the Monday rolls around, I'm out every night of the week. It's so like last minute stuff just pops up, especially the midweek London shows. They're so just, spontaneous. The artist gets a call who then phones me and goes, there's no way you're free like tomorrow. So, no, I am actually. So it's chaotic, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. And it's good. I think it's good like that because it keeps you on the toes and it's the best way to learn. I mean,
definitely is. You can't get bored doing that sort of thing because it's so, you never know what's going to come up. You never know who it's going to be. You never know where it's going to be. So it is, I love it. And it really works for me. It is funny though, talking to a lot of non-musicians and how you realize how structured their weeks are.
Yeah.
And you try and explain what you do and it's just so beyond people's, they're like, what do you mean you don't know what you're doing next week? It's like, I have no idea. I might be in Manchester. I might be in Liverpool. I might be on the Isle of Wight. You have no idea. And they're sitting there going, oh no, I know what I'm doing for the next potentially 3 years every day of the week. Yeah,
it is. And it's I think people, I don't know, can't quite wrap their heads around like doing that. Like you have to really, we've talked about it before, you have to really want to be a drummer and a musician to do this sort of thing. Because I'm sure you've seen it even at 21, like people your age are dropping out going, well, I'm not getting enough gigs, so I'm just going to get a normal job, And
I think COVID really didn't help that either of people, who were just starting out. I was lucky enough. I still am living at home with my parents. So it was absolute godsend for me, especially because you sit there and go, okay, my overheads and outgoings are nowhere near what someone who's just moved out is, who was, had just been booked for a tour or something. And they're thinking, okay, I'll move out, whatever. And then everything went. Yeah. And it's a lot of people. I know a few people that, just sat there, I can't, if this happens again, I can't do it. And it's such a shame because I know a good few talented people that were working through COVID and then got comfortable with regular paychecks, regular work. And you do sit there and you go, to be fair, it probably is financially a lot easier to do.
Weekends off as well,
Weekends off, It's I remember I had a friend who was about your age and she just finished uni and she got her first cruise contract, and I think it started in March 2020. And she was so excited. She was like, this is it. This is my first thing. And then obviously COVID happened and she hasn't really managed to like get back to it. I think she managed to do a cruise contract afterwards. But I remember feeling sorry for people that were, early 20s or late teens. So just like, right, this is it. I'm getting going.
Getting those first sort of breaks. and started to think, okay, yeah, like with the cruise contracts, like once you get on your first one, you can just kind of roll them off the back of each other because they know who you are, sort of thing. And it's so you're all excited and you're all hyped up for that, and then it doesn't happen, and you've left like 6 months free.
Yeah.
So I've got absolutely nothing going on now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you got any sort of future goals? Like, would you like to do a cruise at some point, or theatre, or anything, or do you just prefer like the original music gig scene? Or
I don't really know, to be honest. I kind of want to try everything. So yeah, I would love to do a cruise at some point. I'd love to do some like a run of shows, so like more theatre work sort of stuff. Yeah, kind of just to try it all, because I might turn around, I might do the first cruise and go, no, absolutely not. There's no way on earth I would ever want to do this again or set foot on a boat again. But no, I'm not closed off to anything. It's the only tricky thing with certain things like that is the commitment they want is now, because I'm on a roster of artists for cruises, and they send them over to me and they go, okay, we want you for 6 months from next week. It's like, but I've already booked gigs for like 3 months time that I can't pull out of, and it's such a big commitment that I can see why a lot of people do get intimidated by, because it's a long old shift, especially if you've never done one before. Again, you might get on there, hate it.
As you said.
What are you going to do when you're sitting in the Caribbean Sea and you've got another 5 months left and you're just sitting there?
Maybe not even Caribbean. Some cruises are awful. They go from like Newcastle to Iceland and back in the winter, and you're like, imagine that, and you hate it. Being
seasick for 5 months.
Yeah, exactly. I always say like cruises, if they were like a month or something, it'd be like the best job ever. Say like a month in November, and you'd be like
a hotel residency just for 3-4 weeks. It's like a holiday and you're playing.
Yeah.
What more do you want? But 6 months to me just is at the moment such a big stretch of time.
Yeah, no, I've never done a cruise, but I can. Just the fact it feels sort of claustrophobic. Just you're on a boat, for 6 months. But when I did my contract, I remember it was really good for just, I don't know, learning how to play, because you do play the exact same show every night. Yeah. And it went in like a cycle of, at first, this is fun. And then it goes to being, I'm so bored of this. And then I was like, well, actually, let's use this as a way to learn something new. Like, let's try out a new feel, or let's try out something different in this set. So
I find myself on some weddings, like, it's just boring and I'm dead inside. But like, I'm going to use this to just practice like my kick and my left hand going down together at the same time, and I'm just going to be really conscious of that and just use it as a bit of practice.
I was going to say it's really good for like your discipline and stuff, because you're doing like with weddings, you play the same set, give or take 4 or 5 songs every weekend, and it's you do find yourself going, I'm just bored of this. But then while you're playing, you can like hyper analyze it and go, okay, like you're sitting there going, right, I'm going to get my kick and my left hand as tight as possible. I think that's really good actually as well for your discipline, not just going, oh, I'm bored, let's play mental 6 straight roll fills over songs that really shouldn't need them, like the Beatles.
Over a ballad.
Absolutely ruin Hey Jude with.
And even like drum fills, just going, not doing anything mental, but just the ones you're doing. Like, I'm just going to try and keep these really steady. Really focus on making sure I'm not rushing these, or even like I'm going to try and make sure I'm really hitting the center of the drum, or I'm hitting the cymbal cleanly. Just while there's a wedding going on, but just using it as a bit of practice.
That's right. There'll be someone at the back of their wedding going, he's hitting that drum smack in the middle.
Peachy, that is a peachy rack tom right there.
And there'll be someone else going, why is he not doing any more 6-stroke rolls? I really enjoyed that.
It's gonna be some young drummer who's just started playing. Going, I wish he'd play more blast beats over these songs.
So let's talk about FLOWVERS.
Yeah.
So would you say this is your main project that you do?
It's the one that I'm sort of like a proper part of and not just session for. So we've had a bit of a quieter start to the year. We took a bit of a step back and just focused on writing a bit more than just playing all the time. But that's my main project that I put most time into outside of the session work.
And you're a 4-piece.
Yes.
Where would you genre describe yourself?
We used to be very indie, very 16-year-old writing songs about girls, as we've all done in the past.
Oh yeah.
But now I think we're more alternative rock sort of stuff. So we've gone a bit darker, gone a bit heavier recently.
How long have you guys been going?
Must be about 5 years now. I think we started when we were just about to turn 16. So,
Did you meet at school?
I actually met the three of them. They were already, Stan, Matisse, and Henry were already in a band together, sort of mucking about in practice rooms over in Chichester. And I got in touch for a girl I went to school with who was friends with the lead singer. So sort of this weird thing of he just put something out, I think on social media, just said, I was like looking for a drummer, bit of a criteria. And yeah, she just sent it to me and said, oh, might be worth getting in touch. And yeah, here we are 5 years later.
Nice.
Because I'd say, like, you know, out of all the sort of local Pompey bands, like, you guys are kind of constantly I constantly see you guys about, you know, you're very busy, very active. And it's like, if anyone's going to take that next level, like, you guys are in there with a shot, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, well,
you know,
we hope so.
It seems like you've done very well, you know,
thank
for
you.
your age. And
yeah, it's funny, isn't it, when you start off and you're in these bands when you're really young and things seem really exciting, and you kind of look back at now and you think, oh, it was good, but it was like, yeah, playing a school hall wasn't as, back then was like, wow.
Yeah.
But it's been nice since then. We've just steadily have been increasing every year. We haven't really plateaued. We're by no means like taking off or anything, but it's been a nice steady increase for us, which I think we've really benefited from, of seeing something positive coming back from all that we've been trying to do.
I guess I've seen on Spotify, I listened to a few tunes, like, and obviously I've just known who you are through the Blacksmiths and stuff, but
yeah.
Are you kind of like just singles, releasing singles? Is that what where you're sort of at the moment?
Yeah, so we've done, our whole sort of release career has just been a few singles, wrap it up with an EP, do it all again. So we've got another, we're going to do another 2 singles potentially and finish it off with an EP. We thought about doing an album, but just with the music we write and the position we're in at the moment, doing an EP, doing a whole album doesn't seem to really make sense or suit what we're kind of going for at the moment. It's, you guys might think something different, but I kind of see music now, because it's so easy to consume, singles and EPs just suit people better, especially with Spotify and stuff, because you just add it to a playlist. It's not like you've got to buy the album to listen to more, because you're going to have to be changing, like when you buy a single, you like change a record every 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like, well, if you only like certain stuff, just whack it on a playlist and you've basically got your own album without having to go through the hassle of recording a whole album, paying for it, promoting it, touring it. You can just keep chucking singles out and keep people satisfied with constant releases.
And it's a good way to keep it, all the stuff you put out is good as well. I think I've heard, you know, they talk about writing an album and it's like you've got 6 songs that are great and then 6 songs that are okay, but you're like, well, we've got to do an album, so we'll whack them on. But yeah, exactly. You cut that out if you just writing.
Albums, like if you said there's some 6 insane songs on there, and then I call them filler songs. Yeah. And I always find it a really interesting thing of, because I sit there and go, oh yeah, it was a good album. I just thought there was a lot of filler on it. But then do you think the band sit there when they write them and they think they're the strongest song sort of thing? Yeah. Just get discounted as filler just because they're not quite as, I don't know.
Yeah, I think bands
polished,
will.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Wouldn't necessarily. I mean, look, just from my experience, you know, Auction Thief, we did 2 full-length albums, and you go into. We went into it being like, maybe we had 15 songs and we picked 12 that eventually made the album, and we found that decision was quite easy, of which 3 were not gonna make it, and then. You know, and two of those 3 we actually did record, but when it came to sort of the edit and mix, we were like, nah, they're just not working for some reason. And then I think we definitely knew what ones we would never play live. Pretty much off the bat. You're just like, yeah, that's one that's just, we just knew, like, oh, especially having an EP before and some other songs, we were like, well, if we're going to probably play 4 of this album, 5 max, you know, in a half-hour, 40-minute set, maybe a couple more in an hour, and they just sort of jumped out at us which ones it was going to be. So I don't know if people go in. I think you don't go in with it going, these are filler, but I think once you've made it, you go, oh, we just know which ones we're going to play live, which ones
are the singles, which ones are
the out best. But I think I'm very much, you know, the grew up with it being albums, and 1999, going and buying Make Yourself by Incubus, on the day it came out from our price, and then taking it home and sticking it in the CD player and listening to it all through.
Yeah,
and we've just seen it.
We were like the iPod generation. So when we were growing up, it was the old early iPod. So it was, because you just get given loads of music your parents listen to, like that you might like. And then, you just instantly make a playlist of what you like out of those albums. So I think it's always been, for people our age, it's never really been that big of a thing to have. And I think it's becoming it again, because vinyl's obviously having such a resurgence. But I think in a few years, albums will be back to what they used to be, of being a whole collective of work sort of thing, rather than just something that people pull the songs they like out of and make their own sort of thing.
But I think with guys like your age, so like when you're still kind of early doors in your band, I think, and we're seeing a lot of bands we work with here at the studio, it is single, And I heard someone said, I can't remember who it was, but it's a really good point, and it was like, you only get one debut album.
Make it a good one. Yeah,
make it a good one. So if you're not ready, don't waste it. You
don't want to just
if you're trying to launch. If you're trying to launch yourself and go that next step, if you do that debut album too early, it could be detrimental. But
as a band, I think we get bored very quickly as well. So doing singles works for us, because if we release an album, we're like, right, we're just going to gig the album. Within a month, we'd have basically rewritten a whole new set. But then you've got like the obligation to play the songs that people know. Whereas I think if you do singles, you can keep like your 3 most recent ones. Even for a half-hour set, you've still got another 4 tracks that you can chuck in new ones you've written, experiment with some stuff, rather than going, okay, we've just got to play because we're doing an album tour or we're promoting the album sort of thing.
I wanted to know what you think, because this was kind of one of the main questions I was going to ask, what you think is important for a musician. I almost want to say nowadays, like an early 20s musician, because we've spoken to people on here before. We've had guests who are, late 30s, and they say, this is what I do, this is how I do it. But even just the fact that when we were messaging the other day and we were talking about, hey, if you ever need a drummer, this, and you mentioned, do you have an SPDSX? And I was like, that's now, such an important thing for a drummer to have. Not just gear wise, but we'll get to that. But what do you think, or maybe start with gear, like what do you think is important for you, and what are the things that you've had which means you can get more gigs, if that makes sense?
Yeah, definitely. Nowadays, an SPDSX or something that you can play playback through.
Yeah.
So I've only ever run playback through a sample pad. I've never run it through my laptop. I've never run it off my phone. Sort of thing is, I've just always been a bit wary of having a Logic file open and just watching it go, and just sitting there the whole time going, it's going to crash in a minute. Something's going to have gone wrong. Have I panned it properly? So all of my gigs now, actually, other than FLOWVERS, is all backing track, and a lot of them are samples as well. So all of them actually have got some form of kick, snare, clap, special effects, background sort of synth parts that we've whacked on pads. So definitely, and it's one of the first questions I always ask for finding people to cover me is, do you have this? And if it's a no, it's like, I'm really sorry, I'd love to get you on it, but it just physically won't work.
Yeah.
Because the set won't be there, sort of thing. Outside of that, I think mainly it's just having just the standard breakables, having a kit that's gig worthy. It doesn't need to be anything special, obviously. Just as long as you can tune and make it sound nice and play your parts well, I think you don't really need anything special. I by no means have got like the top of the range stuff. I've only got like, I think they're the short SE215s, the in-ears. So they're just like the cheapest in-ears that they do, but they do the job.
Yeah.
They're indestructible. So nothing's gone wrong with them ever for me. Touch wood anyway. So I don't think there's anything major that is like you won't get the gig if you can't do this.
Yeah.
Other than playback.
Yeah.
Say, because one thing I don't know how you guys tend to do it. One thing I am looking into is starting to use Ableton as well, because it's something that I've been looking into with the bigger artists and a couple of my mates who play for more established people and are playing in bigger venues. It's one of the main things they say is, we all run through Ableton.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that's something to have a grasp on or try to get to, get used to definitely at some point. I think the SPD is brilliant, but it does, again, have its, by just running it as downloaded tracks to run out of jacks, it does have its limitations with stuff that you just can't do with Ableton sort of thing.
Yeah. I think,
I think
Ableton Live is the industry standard for
exactly. I
arena
think
gigs.
That's a really good way of putting it, actually, is finding out what is industry standard equipment and getting it.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're only playing small venues to 50 people, don't bother buying a whole Ableton playback rig for $2,500.
Yeah.
Because it's not needed. Its potential isn't going to be used at all here. It's you can just whack it on an SPD, running it through your laptop if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
So I think that is a big thing of doing a bit of research, finding out what the pros are using, how they're doing it, and replicating it. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. You don't need to get mentally expensive, mentally professional equipment. Just be able to replicate that in your own way to a as bulletproof as possible way. So it's reliable. Reliability is the biggest thing for me, is knowing that you can go out every night of the week and nothing will have broken. Or if it does, it's just unfortunate stuff like a lead has got a loose connection or something. Yeah,
exactly. And I think just by having the knowledge of how to use Ableton and all those things, it's sort of, even if you don't have any gigs using it, it's at least at least you're ready for when that gig comes along.
It's another string to your bow to be able to message people and say, if you need a drummer, let me know. I've got an SPD SX. I also know how to run Ableton. Yeah. Because that already puts you just a step above the 13 other people that have already messaged them, just going, oh no, I can't do backing tracks. And you've got people go, I can run backing tracks. And then there's, oh no, I can run MIDI while we're playing. Yeah. Just it's another step that you can offer someone that puts you ahead of competition.
Yeah, definitely. And it's the way it's going, and it's not going to go backwards.
No, it's so common now. Everyone has playback or MIDIs or whatever. It's such a normal thing now. Whereas even 5 years ago, it was still you play with backing tracks. Oh,
yeah.
I'd rather play live. Me, I'd rather.
Yeah. It was kind of seen. Yeah, there was definitely playing live to a click. Yeah, even was seen as looked down upon, and now it will surprise you who is doing it, and you might not even be aware.
Definitely.
I mean, I heard a story that there was a really big metal band who not only had extra things on track, but they had rhythm guitars, and they had a lead vocal on track.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the singer was singing along. I have an idea who it is, but I'm not going to say. But
not going to be name dropping,
because that expectation of a live show really has got to replicate what's on the record. And as Woody from Bastille was saying, we got to put all those sounds in. That's why he's got 1 million pads. And
because his kit setup is incredible with pads everywhere to trigger all of the different sounds that they use.
Yeah. Drum gear. Are you a drum gear nerd? Are you into your shells and?
I am. I'm a funny one. I am into it all, but at the same time, I'm a very strong believer of you can make middle of the road stuff sound phenomenal if you know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So my setup at the moment is I've actually still got my first ever kit, and that is my touring, regular gigging recording kit. I've got a Pearl Export series.
Oh, yes.
So it's the 22-inch kick. I've got 10, 12, 16. I only ever use, at the moment, 12, 16.
Yeah.
I've got a Gretsch. I don't even know what it is. It's a brushed brass Gretsch 14 by 5.5, I think. I don't know what the model number is or anything. I think it was one of those.
It's okay.
I think it's one of those random ones that they brought out, didn't give it a name. It's not like the Black Beauty or anything. It's just just Gretsch brass. And then I've got Zildjian K Darks
Nice.
cymbal setup. So yeah, no, it's nothing mental. And I've thought about getting a new kit. Sorry, I keep looking over my shoulder because it's over there and I've forgotten what I've got set up. So I'm having to remind myself. So yeah, I've only got an export, but I've been complimented on that kit at almost every gig I go to, and it gets mic'd up. Or every recording session I go to, everyone always says, "Oh, it sounds wicked. What is it?" And you go, "Oh, it's a Pearl export," and they'll go, "What, really?" Because they think it must be like a Masters or something. But whack a good set of heads on something, learn how to tune. Actually, that's one of the last episodes I watched of yours was chatting about how neglected your bottom heads are. And I'm quite into changing my heads. And I sat there and went, I don't think I've changed my bottom heads in about 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
So they're definitely do a change. And snares, new top and bottom head. Snare wires as well, I think can really change the characteristics. But learn how to tune. And you can make something that is very bog standard sound just as good as some people turning out with DW kits that they don't know how to tune.
Yeah.
I really want a Pearl export. I've said this before, but I used to have one.
Yeah.
And I'd just love another one. They're just like Ford Focuses. They keep going for years.
Oh
and
yeah,
years.
Mine's faded because I used to have it in the sun. So it used to be a nice, perfect white, sparkly, and we love a sparkly kit.
When you say you used to have it in the sun, what do you mean by that? You used to play outside, or?
Oh no, just by a window.
Oh right. Okay.
I used to practice in the garden, and neighbours.
I was going to say, yeah.
And so it's got a slight yellow tinge, but it's gone all over, so you can't notice
That's
that
good.
it didn't. Unless you know it used to be perfectly white, you wouldn't
It's
know.
got a tan.
Yeah.
Lovely
exactly.
tan. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been on holiday.
Exactly.
It's got a bit of Tom Rash. It's had God knows how many beers spilt on it, but yeah, it's indestructible. And
Nice.
it was only in cases for like the last 2 years of its life, and I've been playing it for about 8 years. So
Amazing. What kick pedal have you got?
I've got a Tama Speed Cobra.
Ooh.
I've
I
got.
haven't even heard
So
of it.
I've got matching kick and hi-hat pedal. Just
Yeah,
'cause
you got to.
it's nice to look at, and it makes me happy when my OCD, when I sit down and go, yeah, that's cool.
Well, George
nice.
recently completed his matching DW. Is it the 9000?
Yeah, the 9000, because mine couldn't have been less matching. I had the DW 9000 kick pedal for ages. My hi-hat was a Big Dog hi-hat, which was a brand which I don't even know if it exists.
I've come across
anymore.
Big Dog a couple of times.
Yeah, if you go to a bad rehearsal room, it's probably a
Yeah.
Big Dog hi-hat.
Was
and
it the old big blue
yeah.
footboard on it? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like this blue shitty thing to the left and then a DW 9000 there. And I was like, I've got to, even just for like appearance, just get DW 9000 hi-hat just so it looks better.
Yeah. Well, because like I say, I'm not one to go and buy the most expensive stuff. Well, I mean, mainly because I can't afford it, but two, because I just, again, don't think it makes you a better player. But one thing that I do like put more into is what I actually touch on the kit. So yeah, like having a nice kick pedal, a nice hi-hat stand, I was going to say nice sticks, but just...
What sort of sticks do you use?
I use a Vic Firth Extreme 5As.
Oh.
So
What makes them extreme?
They're slightly longer than the 5As. I'm quite tall and I've got quite long legs. So when I sit behind the kit, I tried it the other day. I went back to regular 5As and I just felt like I was leaning so much further forward just to make up that extra little half an inch or whatever it is.
Wow.
I make up for that because I'm tall as well, and I make up for that with incredibly poor posture. It just sort of leans
The
me
hunchback
forward.
and notched arm hanging over the snare drum.
Yeah.
Did you ever earlier on add anything else to your kit, like for gigs, and think this will be cool, like a cowbell or anything?
Yeah,
Before you went-
I used to gig always cowbell on the floor tom, and I had a tambourine mount that mounted to my hi-hat, so it would be like lefty hi-hat almost, where you'd have like a second snare.
Yeah.
So they always used to come out with me, and then when the mounts were making my hardware bag heavier, and also the fact that you have a tambourine rattling about while you're driving 3 hours to a gig, and there's no matter how loud you turn the music up, you're still going to hear it. So it still comes out sometimes.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I'm like, I love it, and then by the end of the gig, I sit there and go, I think I might have used that twice.
Yeah.
in a whole 2-hour set. Why have I bought this with me?
Yeah, this is it. It's one of those things. If I had a drum tech, there's no end.
If I was touring with drum tech and full crew, I would look like Mike Mangini.
I'd have a gong.
Yeah, just so I can play random stuff once.
Yeah,
and one little 6-inch tom that I've just cranked the hell out of. Yeah, that's going to be hit once. So I'm glad you might put that up for me. That was...
a timpani.
Yeah,
a timpani. It'd be great.
Do you have a dream like drum brand or kit in mind that you'd one day like? If you maybe someone approached you about endorsing you.
If you got something to tell me, Ben, are you gonna?
No, unfortunately not.
Please welcome to the Zoom call.
Yeah. Round of applause for. My dream kit would be a 60s or earlier Ludwig.
Ooh.
With FLOWVERS, we went up to Warner, the label up in London, and we were in their studio for I think we did about 2-3 weeks in total, spread out, not like hardcore. And he had a vintage up in their studio. They had a vintage, I think it was a 64 Ludwig in a blue oyster. So like that marbled effect. I could still be up there now playing on it. It was just a dream. It sounded incredible. The room it was in made it sounded wicked as well. So I've always wanted one. And I see them come up on, obviously being a drum nerd, following the vintage drum shops on Instagram and stuff. And stuff. One will come up and it's like vintage this. I'm like, quick, let's have a look. It's like $4,500. Yeah, no, never mind. That won't be coming home with me. So I'd like one eventually, but I think almost I'd be then too precious over it.
Yeah, I was going to say that you wouldn't want people spilling beer.
There's so much like history behind it because it's a vintage kit. So I don't want to have that being chucked in the back of a van
No.
So I'm never bothered about other people playing my kit, like doing kit shares and stuff with other drummers. And I don't know if part of that is because, that kit has been through the wars and it's still fine. But I think, maybe if I bought a $4,000 drum kit, I'd be a little bit more, I don't really know if I want you playing on that. So this is it's your first gig out in public and I'm a little bit worried.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, again, money, I've never had the money to spend that much on a kit, but it goes through my head. Like when I bought my Mapex Saturn, which probably shells, I spent maybe like £800-900 on, second hand and good nick. But I was like, just any more, I just won't want to take it to weddings.
No.
So what's the point? What's the point in buying it? Yes, it would be good for the studio, but then I'd need another kit.
I did think about, because I haven't actually had this set up for long. It was almost like I'll get a practice studio kit. But then I'm sitting there going, I'm spending all that extra money to only practice on it. And I'm also a believer in if you're going to have something that nice, it should be heard. So it's such a waste of money to buy $2,500 kit to just put it in my house and it never leaves and I'm the only one that ever gets to hear it. It's like someone's made that to sound wicked and only the 4 walls in this room are ever going to hear it played. And it just seems like a waste. You might as well go buy another Pilot Export and just put it in. If it's only going to be me that hears it, this
is it. I had a similar thing where because my kit that I've had since I was 17 is a Tama Star Classic, and it's what I use now and always use. But there was a bit of time where I bought a kit from Brighton Electric for like 150 quid, and it was a cheap kit that they just had in a practice room and were getting rid of. And I was like, I'm going to have this and use it as my wedding gig kit, because I almost wanted one that I could, I don't know, not worry about. And then, but then it was like, well, why am I using this? Because this isn't as good as my Tama Star Classic. And it was, I sort of went the other way of it. I was like, oh no, I need to actually,
it's the balance
not worry
of,
as much.
I want it to be good enough to play on
and
gig, so it sounds good in a venue or a wedding, but I don't want it to be so expensive. I don't want to take it out of the house.
Because someone's standing next to it.
I think that is £700 to £800. I think that's the level of kit, Any more than that, you won't want to take it out. Any less than that, it won't sound as good.
If you're like a big touring band and you've got techs and it's only ever you and them that touches that kit, I think by then all means it's because if something's going to happen to it, it's going to be me. Yeah. And as much as that's going to be one of those really annoying moments that you just want to have a go at yourself, there's not the worry of someone accidentally doing something.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
yeah, it's kit sharing at gigs it's always, yeah, it's fine. If you break something, just pay for it. I'm not that bothered,
Yeah,
which is kind of what you want. And like you said, if you bought another kit to gig with that obviously didn't sound as good as your Tama, there's nothing better than sitting behind a kit that sounds really nice because it makes you want to play.
yeah,
And I find personally that I played better on a well-tuned kit just because it's more like inspiring to me to actually make it sound good.
yeah,
Whereas when you're on a naff kit, you're just sitting there going, oh yeah, I'm just playing. It doesn't actually mean anything to me. I'm just kind of doing it because I've got to.
yeah.
Whereas when you've got something nice to sit behind, it does make you play almost your full ability.
So, question I've asked people before, and this is a tricky one, or maybe it's an easy one. Are there any favorite gigs you've played so far in your career?
I mean, I probably should say all of them in case the people I'm playing for are watching.
Good point. Yeah.
There's one that's always stood out to me. It's with FLOWVERS, and we did a showcase down at Guildhall in Portsmouth. It was a good gig, and there wasn't. I think there must have been, I don't know, 700-800 people in there, so it was busy. But it was more because that was the first ever place I went to a gig when I was younger. So my dad took me when I was 14, and it was one of those things of like, it was really cool being on the other side of it, even though it wasn't the best gig musically or like it wasn't with a big band or whatever. It's just that sort of more the meaning behind, being on that stage that I once watched people play on, sort of thing.
Who did your dad take you to see?
He took me to see a band called the Levelers.
Oh yeah.
I think I must be 14. It was the first proper gig that he ever took me to. And again, that's a proper, especially in Guildhall, like so loud in there. It was proper, 14-year-old little me getting his face melted right in front of the speakers, which probably half deafened me already. But outside of that, I'm trying to think. We played, one of the big ones was playing Isle of Wight Festival, just because we've played Victorious a few times, but I don't know whether it's because we all grew up in the Portsmouth area. Even though it's quite a big festival, it was always that thing of like, oh, it's our local festival.
Yeah.
Isle of Wight was the first one that we went to that was kind of like, it's a world-known and world-renowned festival sort of thing. And it was that sort of, oh, we're playing like a proper big festival that people know about. Like you say to them, oh, yeah, we're playing a Wight Festival. Like, oh, wow. So that was definitely a cool moment.
Ben, anything else?
Well, I'd just like to know who your favourite delivery company is.
Favourite delivery company?
You've ordered something online, you get the notification. It's a particular company. You're happy or you're sad? Who makes you happy?
Can I just say before you answer, we ask people this every week, and I always go, oh, "Why are we still out there?" Someone's eventually gonna be like, "What?" But no one ever does that. They go,
They've asked some big drummers and they've gone, okay,
It's an abstract enough question that you actually do sit there and you think, I've never really thought of this.
No one.
And also, we're all
sitting
there going, we've all ordered symbols online and just had that dread of, is it going to turn up inside out?
There you go.
They get a very bad rep, but I've never had an issue with them. It's Hermes.
Wow.
Yeah, fair. That's your favourite one.
They have never, ever let me down. Everything's always turned up on time. Everything's always been in good condition. Yodel, however, is my sitting there going, oh, that's never turning enough, is it?
Okay, this is
I sort of agree. With the Hermes everything, because they're now called Every. I've had a few, and always on time, always track. They even take a photo to prove that they've sent it, which is.
And you get a little text message saying like, Christian is about to deliver your parcel.
This is it.
You've got a nice personal touch with the delivery driver. It's nice.
Yeah, I think they're turning a corner, but I agree with Yodel being.
Yeah, I think Yodel for me is. I've barely had anything with Yodel, and it's just an absolute unknown. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I got no idea what's going to happen with this. I guess as well, like, where can people find you online?
Check out my Instagram is, I think, Connor Griffiths Drums, all one word. Just double check that before I get, Connor Griffiths Drums. I've got a website, www.connorgriffithsdrums.co.uk. I am on Facebook, but I never upload or check it. So you can follow me if you want. But, and check out the band, which is FLOWVERS Band on Instagram. FLOWVERS, FLOWVERS on Spotify, all major streaming platforms.
Yeah, we'll definitely put links to all that shit, won't we, George?
Yeah,
Put
definitely.
that in the episode description. But thanks so much for joining us, Connor.
Wicked, thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure.
It's been a laugh. It's been good.
Well, I would say see you on a gig soon, but that's never going to happen.
No, I'll cover you on a gig soon. Probably is the best.
Yeah,
best way of putting it.
We join up when we look at those drum charts for Brown Eyed Girl. That's what.
Yeah.
I'll be thinking of both of you while I'm
She's there.
So
It's
reading the stabs in 9 to 5.
I apologise about the graffiti on some of them. I don't know if
No. I edited that out before I gave it to Connor.
I was about to say, I was like, there wasn't any that I noticed. I'm gonna go.
What song is it? Which one do you remember, Ben? It was a Beatles one, but there was just
Help, maybe.
No, I think it was. It doesn't matter, but someone had drawn.
Saw her standing there.
Yeah. And before I sent it to you, Connor, I got rid of it. It was just like a guy with his knob out that someone had drawn on your chart.
Loads of dicks.
Yeah.
My original paper chart, and then obviously
Yeah.
when I scanned them all to go digital,
Just
I
left it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's just a few with.
So you should have left them there because I'd have been scrolling through, going right, okay, chorus,
Yeah.
cock, right, okay.
I know. Even though I thought, well, I'm sure he'll
I'll send you
find
the
that funny.
original, and you can swap it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought
I'll put something heinous on the ones you sent me, and then I'll forward them on to someone and just blame you two.
exactly.
Let's try and pass down
Pass down the graffiti.
yeah.
like Chinese.
There's a rule
whispers.
that you've got to write something or draw something on at least one of the charts before
I
you
love
send it on
this
to
game.
someone.
Yeah, definitely.
Bit of history.
We'll pick a song that's going to come up real regularly for everyone.
Yeah.
And we'll just make sure every time it just gets used, we'll add something on it. But
Exactly.
Sweet guys. Pleasure.
cheers, Connor. Thanks, man. Speak
See you
soon.
later.
Bye.
Bye.
There we go, Connor.
There we go.
Lovely young lad.
Yeah. Nice to
Steve's got his
finally
head.
talk to him.
Yeah, he's got his head screwed on, hasn't he? And
He has.
he's going to have a good career ahead of him.
Yeah, definitely.
When mine is burnt to the ground, he'll be there to trawl through the.
Like a fork. Is it a fork? What are the? No, a phoenix, where it burns and it disintegrates, and then it's just ash and shit and that. That's you're nearly there, and Connor will.
He'll rise up with my drum charts.
Exactly.
And
yeah,
take flight. He's already flying.
He's
So
doing well.
yeah, he's doing well. This just speaking of my absolute hatred of life and music and drumming. A gig I did recently, I was depping for a band, and my reputation seems to be preceding me now. And I've played a few times with these guys.
Which band?
Indigo Heights.
Oh yeah, Indigo Heights. Who
And
we've all played for, me, Connor, and you. You know,
everyone has, yeah.
various different.
And a
bands.
guitarist, when we were saying goodbye at the end of the gig, said, in jest, but goodbye, Winto, you miserable fuck. And I was like, that really meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'd say it's easy to just, go through life being fairly chilled and like, oh, it's okay. But I feel like it takes a lot of effort to be that bitter sometimes,
It's exhausting. It's exhausting. I just want to be
for him
happy,
to say
man.
that. Yeah.
And he did say, the singer was like, he said, they had like a father-daughter dance and a groom-mother dance. And,
I bet you love that.
The singer was like, oh, fucking hell, yeah. Oh, it was cringy. Everyone just sat down and watched. It was weird. No one stood up. And there was just people chatting. But anyway, the singer went, well, this is eating into our first hour set.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, absolutely. And he said that to the guitarist, and he said, oh, Winty's really rubbing off on you, isn't he? Because the singer's along, and he's like, yeah.
Well, I did think in this interview with Connor we just did, when he was talking about, only taking what he needs to gigs, he was saying, oh, I used to take that, but it got too heavy for the hardware bag. I was like, there we go.
Yeah.
He's becoming you,
He's on the right path.
Yeah, exactly. But hope you enjoyed. Please send us an email.
Yes.
And please at drumanddrummerpod@gmail.com. Is that it?
That's the one.
and or get in touch on Instagram. Anyway, on Instagram, like a post, comment, message.
We bloody love to hear from you.
Yeah, at Drum and Drummer Podcast.
Have you got any questions?
Yeah,
anything, you know, maybe you've been listening to us for over half a year, well over half a year now, and you just think, I'd really love to know. There's something I'd really love to know about Ben or about George. Just ask us, man.
We should do a one of those question polls on the story, maybe. That'd be a good way to do it.
Who's your favourite?
Yeah, God, that would. You should imagine you do the percentage and it goes really far one way. It's like 98% one.
Well, no, the thing is, it would be 100% and 0 because only one person would do it.
Yeah, and then if it was on me, I'd then just turn it off and then put it on the Insta. Be like, well, there you go. Our 80 followers. You don't need luck when you've got 80 followers on your side telling you you're the best.
But yeah, I think so, mate. Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely be back next week.
Yep.
Don't know with what yet.
Nope. Could be a guest.
We'll definitely be back. And if nothing else, we are consistent.
Do you know what? Yes, that is something. Every Thursday morning.
Every Thursday, man, you can rely on us.
You can rely on us. I've seen, right, I'll say this. I'll say this to end. I saw someone starting a podcast the other day. Someone I'm loosely friends with, not really. And I thought, let's see if you post every week. You know what I mean? Because it's not hard, but it's not. You gotta be like,
it's consuming my life.
Yeah.
We did for no money.
We did 2 interviews on Sunday, and I was genuinely a bit drained. You know?
I was very exhausted. Yeah.
It shouldn't be, but it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll always be here Thursday.
We'll always be here, and we very much appreciate you listening. It's good to have you in the Drum and Drummer sphere. Yeah. Fold.
Yeah. Bubble.
A
Tribe.
Nice
Clan.
Yeah. Just
Block.
a nice. We've got our arms open, and we're giving you all a hug.
Yep. Who are you, and what have you done? Oh, I can't bother to do that bit anymore. No.
Sweet, man. Yeah, let's get out of here. Probably got a gig to do.
Yeah. I got to keep this tash going for. It won't make sense now. This is coming out way later than the 80s gig, but I've still got a tash. So.
Yeah. George, man, have a good rest of your week, boy.
You too. Bye-bye.
Mate, bye-bye. Yo!
Thank you for listening to Drum and Drummer. You can find us on Instagram at Drum and Drummer Podcast. And you can send us an email to drumanddrummerpod@gmail.com. Remember, just pick up the sticks and twat it.